So I want to talk about this meme that the girls are discussing on TikTok and X of Megan Thee Stallion's dating history and how it relates to Black women's representation. And I also want to touch on the Black women, specifically the dark-skinned Black women who are over-identifying with Megan and her imagery and caping really hard for her, even though she has consistently othered herself from dark-skinned Black women in particular. So I'm going to get into that at the end of the video. I don't hear a lot of people talking about it. I know I'm going to ruffle some feathers in this video, but everything that I'm going to say here needs to be said. And before we get into it, I do exclusive content for Neptunian members and patrons. So if you're interested in watching, the links to join are in the description box. Also, if you enjoy my content, be sure to like this video, share, and subscribe. So somebody has put together a very disgusting meme of Megan Thee Stallion's dating history. I'm assuming a Black man made this because it looks like something they would do. And the meme has gone viral in the Black sector of the internet. And so Black women are asking, well, where is the meme for Taylor Swift? Where is Kim Kardashian's meme? Where is Ariana Grande's meme? And most of the Black women are highlighting that Megan is being singled out because she is a Black woman. And there's also a small minority of Black women who are saying that white women in the industry are called out about their body count as well. We just don't pay attention to it because we're obviously focused more on what Black people are doing. And I agree with both sides. I think that Black women are penalized the harshest for our body count or for being promiscuous compared to other groups of women, and other groups of women are also devalued for being promiscuous. That's not exclusive to Black women. Men do that across the board, and part of it is because they have a Madonna horror complex, which I talked about in the last video about Megan and Clay's breakup. So make sure you go check that out if you haven't already, if you want to hear my opinion on the breakup. But what I don't hear Black women talking about enough is our extremely hypersexual representation that adds to the reason women like Megan are being targeted and singled out, even though they have the same number of bodies or even less compared to someone like Taylor Swift. Well, it's because Taylor does not have the same persona, and she and Megan are not the same archetype. And this, of course, is after the racial component. Even though Taylor Swift is not innocent, first of all, she's white, and that's part of why people perceive her to be more quote unquote pure than Megan. But also, Taylor leads with the maiden and lover archetypes. I think she has some other archetypes mixed up in there too, but they aren't as dominant as her primary archetypes. And then Megan, on the other hand, leads with the whore Jezebel archetype. And unfortunately, that persona, especially when Black women embody it, is penalized more harshly. And this is why I always stress the importance of Black women correctively promoting ourselves and removing that hypersexual image of Black women from the forefront. Not saying it can't exist, because every group of women have hypersexual representation, but it doesn't need to be as prominent as it is currently in the Black community. Unfortunately, it's dominating Black women's representation, and that is part of why people hyper focus on our sexuality. Now, something I don't hear being discussed though is how Black men are a huge reason this representation exists. It was Black men who introduced the Black female hypersexuality in hip hop, the same persona or image that Megan is emulating. And that's the irony of this whole conversation that Black men are having about jump offs and fun girls and pass arounds and hypersexual female rappers. That persona that these women have is primarily for the Black male gaze. It's to appeal to them, and it's an image that Black men help to create in their music and entertainment. That did not start with Black women. And I know somebody's gonna say, oh, well, those are the bad Black men. Those are the rappers and the drug dealers and the gangbangers. Okay, well, where were the good Black men to offset that image and create better representation for Black people, to dominate the ghetto ratchet representation? Why are the quote unquote good guys still living vicariously through the bad guys who consistently exploit Black women even to this day and create this kind of hypersexual Black woman representation that Black women are then influenced to adopt? And I'm quite sure the next argument will be, oh, well, that's the white man's fault. The Jezebel trope was created during slavery, and it was the white man who portrayed Black women as being promiscuous and sexually aggressive, and he conditioned the Black man to represent Black women that way. And no, I'm not letting y'all blame slavery and the white man, because Black women, we can't use that excuse. We cannot say that the reason Megan has a hypersexual persona is because of the Jezebel trope that began during slavery. I have not heard slavery come up once during this conversation. Y'all are holding Megan responsible for her image. You're holding other Black women responsible for our hypersexualized representation as a whole, not the white man. So I'm also going to skip over him and talk about who Megan and other Black female rappers and hypersexual Black women in general today are being influenced by. And it was Black men in hip hop. It was Black men in hip hop who exploited and hypersexualized Black women in their music and in their entertainment. That's where this entire image comes from. So it's interesting to hear Black men complain about the archetype that they created. And let's be honest here, the only reason they have an issue with Megan, first off, they don't like that Tory Lanez, a Black man, is in jail for popping her in the foot. But they also don't like that Megan raps about being a hot girl and getting men to trick on her. They only have a problem with hypersexual Black women when they can't fully control them. But outside of that, Black men have no issue whatsoever with the whore archetype if they're the ones controlling it. Because think about it, if they really had a problem with it, they would be complaining about all these Black men who are exploiting Black women in their music and trying to stop them like they do the women. And this is why I tell Black women that it does not pay to listen to Black men. It does not pay to live by the quote unquote culture, because they convince you to present yourself this way, present yourself like a whore to the world, twerk for them, be hypersexual for them, and then they'll turn around and punish you for what they influenced you to do later, if you're not doing it exactly how they want you to do it. That's what they did to Cooking with Kaya. They built her up all to tear her down after they learned that she wanted to cook and twerk for a high earning man and not the broke one she was pandering to online. And they're still going after her to this day. And some of y'all got mad at my commentary on that, but what's happening to Megan is exactly why I said that what Cooking with Kaya was doing is stupid. It does not pay off in the long run. Trying to appeal to Black men with hypersexuality is not a good long-term professional or personal strategy for Black women. Black men are way too fickle for that. And you also get trapped into this hypersexual category that a lot of times you cannot get out of. It's literally a trap. So ladies, just recognize that Black men are full of shit in this conversation. Like I said in my last video, men love hoes and they cheat on every type of woman that they put in different categories. They cheat on the fun girls that they don't marry, and they also cheat on their wholesome wives with the fun girls. And this is all men, regardless of race, regardless of their occupation. It's not just athletes, it's not just entertainers cheating on their wives and girlfriends. It's blue collar men, it's professional men, it's pastors in the church, it's broke men, it's rich men. Cheating men don't have one single archetype. And if you think that, you're delusional. Now, obviously, I think some occupations can be worse than others, but it's very dangerous to think that you can only be cheated on by someone because he works a certain job or because he looks a certain way. And serial cheaters like Klay Thompson are going to cheat on every woman they're with, regardless of their image. And there's nothing you can do about it, ladies. Now, with all of that said, it still does not change that Black women need to correct our hypersexual image. First and foremost for ourselves, because as we can see, this Jezebel whore archetype, it comes with so much bullshit that honestly, why would you want to deal with it? It comes with more scrutiny. It comes with harsher penalties in and outside the Black community. And I don't see where it's greatly beneficial to women in this society, especially Black women. And some of y'all were mad about me touching on this in my last video because you feel like I'm telling Black women to shrink themselves, but I'm just not seeing how this archetype benefits Black women collectively in any significant way. How does you talking about your WAP and twerking online benefit the collective of Black women? And I don't even see how this is debatable when you consider how Megan is being treated right now. And also, I don't understand Black women fighting to uphold and center Black women's hypersexual representation like Megan based on all the other arguments that y'all consistently make online. In one breath, y'all giving all these warnings about S work and sugaring and sprinkle and engaging in purely transactional relationships or engaging in S work with men. But then when I warn about the dangers and limitations of the S work persona, now it's respectability politics. And now it's telling women to shrink themselves. And oh, Chrissy, that doesn't matter at all. A woman can be as hypersexual as she wants to be and still be just as successful as Michelle Obama. I'm sorry, ladies, but that just is not true. And you cannot simultaneously argue that S workers and women who lead with their sexuality are devalued and treated the worst in our society, and then turn around and say that hypersexual representation doesn't wield similar results. It does. See, Black women want to believe that that they can be hypersexual and still attract the best kind of attention, the best opportunities, the best people. And y'all want to believe that presenting yourself that way won't limit you at all. But it's just not the world that we live in. Presentation plays a factor in who we attract and how we are perceived. And that applies to everybody, not just Black women. Everybody at some point has had to assimilate, code switch, not be their authentic selves, not keep it real to elevate in this society. And Black women are no exception. And I see some of y'all bringing up Kim Kardashian in this conversation. Kim K still attracts low quality men in and outside of the Black community. Even though she got wifed, she still does not attract the best men. She's also not fully respected in the white community, despite being extremely successful. And I think a lot of Black women miss that. That's why she became a lawyer, or tried to become a lawyer. I don't know if she actually became one, but she did that to offset her reputation that she has due to her S-tape with Ray J. And as one woman pointed out in my comment section, some of that restoration that she's trying to do with her reputation is also because the white community, and specifically white men, see her as soiled because she was dealing with Black men. So that's like something else that, like, quote unquote, taints her reputation. However, white men, like all men, they still have the Madonna whore complex, and they devalue the hypersexual women in their community. And the women do too. I don't know if y'all have been on the white side of the internet, but white people be dragging Kim Kardashian. They drag the shit out of her. And it's for a multitude of reasons. It's because she, has dealt with Black men. It's because she altered her body to mimic the body type that's typically seen on Black women. It's because of her S-tape with Ray J. And it's because of her overall whore archetype. And so even though she's not penalized as harshly as Black women, she's still very much penalized in the white community. And that's why I don't think we'll ever see her with like a quote unquote respectable, high earning white man. I don't think we'll ever see her with that. And then another woman in the comments brought up Coco, who is Ice-T's wife. And they're like, oh, but he's faithful to her. He treats her well. And, she's hypersexual. And look, that's wonderful. But Ice-T is also a retired pimp. He's a retired thief. And he's one of those rappers who spent years exploiting women. He's not a man with the best character. And as I mentioned in the last video, cheating is just one of the host of issues that come with those kind of men. The kind of men that the whore archetype generally attracts. And so Ice-T is still not the best example, even though, he appears to be faithful to his wife. But I say all that to say that if you want to be strategic with your image, your individual image, your collective image, it makes sense to just go down the path of least resistance. That's common sense, ladies. And so when I say these things, I'm not trying to shrink you or stop you from expressing yourself. I'm just trying to help you be more strategic in the way you express yourself. That's it. You can still be sexy. You can still express your sexuality. You just have to do it in a more tasteful way and in a way that is more conducive to your reputation and your individual and collective representation. And I just want to remind you, ladies, and inform those of you who are new here, this is a level up channel. This is a social strategy channel, primarily for unambiguous dark-skinned women. So I'm here to give you the game on how to benefit within our current system, and improving our personal individual image and our representation and optics is a part of that. I'm not here to be morally or politically correct all the time. What I'm saying here is respectability. And I believe in Black women using respectability to our advantage, just as everyone else does. You use it when you go to work. Are you twerking at your job? Do you have your ass out at church? Okay then. So it shouldn't be controversial when I say that the hypersexual shit does not work in every environment, and it makes life harder than it needs to be for women, especially Black women. That's not debatable. And is it fair? No, it's not fair. And should it be up to other people to change? Yes, but they're not going to change. So what are you going to do in the meantime to level up your life and live well? That's what you need to ask yourself. Are you going to spend your time trying to destroy all oppressive systems and trying to force people into behaving better and doing what they're supposed to do? Or are you going to spend time bettering your life? And look, nothing wrong with doing a little bit of both. I'm here for it. But there are some hills that you just do not want to die on. And this is one of them. You do not need these hypersexual optics. You don't need them. And you don't need that to be your dominant representation. You don't need to twerk on Instagram or talk about your WAP to be sexually liberated. There are so many other ways to be that. And look, if you don't care about your image and your reputation or the collective image of Black women, and you don't agree with using respectability or assimilation to level up even a little bit, this is not the channel for you. If you want me to condone or push for the hypersexual representation of Black women when it's hurting us more than it helps, this is not the channel for you. And I want to reiterate that I am not encouraging Black women to avoid hypersexual representation to get a man. I'm encouraging you to avoid it to get the most in terms of social mobility and social status. Even though I don't think it's a problem if you avoid the whore archetype to attract a higher caliber, higher quality man, or to attract a man that's going to take you more seriously, I think that's fine too. And I think that's actually smart to do if you want a chance at a higher quality relationship. Now, there still aren't any guarantees, but your chances may be a little bit better. So I think that's fine too. Somebody in the comments under the last video brought up how Megan should do what Eve did and get a white man like Maximilian and open up her options and divest from the Black community. And I 100% agree. But like I pointed out to that person, Eve cleaned up her image a lot, and she does not have the same persona that she used to. So for Megan to do what Eve did, she's going to have to do what Eve did, and she's going to have to tighten up her image. If Megan is truly a lover girl at heart and that's her primary archetype, she needs to rebrand into a persona that better reflects that instead of trying to appeal to the culture. She needs to leave all that ratchet shit behind. That's Black women's problem. That's a big reason why we out here losing right now. We trying to appeal to the culture. That's the reason. Y'all need to burn the cape. And what Megan is going through right now is why we be telling y'all to divest from this community. There are so many examples at this point to support why you should. This is just one of many. And Eve, she saw the writing on the wall. She's still Eve. She's still herself, but she's not the same ratchet stripper archetype that she was before. And if I'm not mistaken, Eve has talked about her changing in the past. She's talked about changing her lifestyle because she didn't like the trauma that came with it. And I'm sure most of that trauma came from the men that she attracted when she was embodying that whore archetype and when she was in those ratchet environments, which is why I keep telling y'all that it makes life harder than it needs to be. And look, I'm not trying to say that Eve's life is perfect. We don't know what goes on behind closed doors, right? But she appears to be way happier and more at peace than she was in the past. And I'm sure that would still be the case if her and Maximilian didn't work out. So if you want Eve's life for Megan, then you should also want her to change like Eve did. She can't keep doing the same shit and expecting different results. And look, she's gonna have to change. There's no way around it. I know y'all don't want to hear that and you want to believe that you can still get the very best out of life while being ratchet and over sexual, but that's not the world we live in. And we operate in reality on this channel. And I base my commentary and my advice on the way the world is, not how it should be. Now, I want to end this video with a message to dark-skinned Black women, specifically about over-identifying with Megan and other ratchet women who don't identify with us. Because I noticed that there were a lot of dark-skinned women in the comments under my last video caping for Megan. Some of you even felt like I was being too hard on her. And I'm sure you'll think that about this video as well. And that's fine. But I'm actually being quite nice here, okay? And I didn't say what I'm going to say now in the last video because I was trying to, stay on topic. But since y'all were tussling in the comments, I'm going to say it now and piss you off even more. Listen, I think that dark-skinned Black women especially are caping for Megan a little bit too hard, considering that she does not even identify with us. And maybe some of y'all didn't know this, but Megan has bragged about being red bone. She's bragged about being Creole in her music. She did a song with colorist Cardi B. And nothing wrong with her claiming red bone or claiming being Creole. But my point is she separated herself from dark-skinned women. And at the end of the day, honestly, she's not the dark-skinned Black woman's representation. I know people are going to argue like, oh, Chrissy, she's dark-skinned. Where I'm from, she would be considered brown-skinned. And I know some people are going to say that she bleached or whatever. But if you have to debate whether or not somebody's dark-skinned, that usually means they're not. Like, she's brown. I think she's right in the middle. And she definitely doesn't consider herself to be dark-skinned. And so I want you guys to keep that in mind in this conversation. Now, I'm doing these videos on Megan because she's constantly being used to generalize all Black women, specifically by Black men. And she's being used to talk about Black women as a whole. And I'm a Black woman. So of course I'm going to respond to some of it, right? However, I don't identify with Megan at all, actually, other than the fact that she's a Black woman and people are, using her to like shit on Black women. But I don't identify with her as a person at all. And I don't think that dark-skinned women in particular should over-identify with Megan and all these other ratchet brown-skinned and light-skinned women who see themselves as other. There's nothing wrong with having empathy for Megan. I understand, that she has no family. She's been through a lot in the industry after the whole Tory Lanez situation. But I highly doubt that she would defend most of the Black women who are going hard for her in my comment section. And again, I understand y'all are going hard for her because she's a Black woman. She's getting the typical Black woman treatment right now. And she is the representation for Black women as a whole, regardless of how she identifies. And there's not a lot we can do about that as dark-skinned women. So I understand why your knee-jerk reaction is to jump into defense mode for her because you see it as defending yourself as a Black woman. I do too. I get it. But part of me also feels like we should stop allowing women like this to be forced on us in our representation when they explicitly other themselves from dark-skinned women. Because think about it. When it's good promotion, they're red bones and Creoles. And dark-skinned women, we can't really take the credit for that. But then when it's bad promotion, they're Black women. And as dark-skinned Black women, of course, we take the hits for that. And then we're also online being the most vocal about it. But are red bones and Creoles taking the hits for Suki Hana and Sexy Red? Exactly. And so I want y'all to think about that when you jump into defense mode for these women and start attacking other Black black women on their behalf. And I'm specifically talking to the dark-skinned women, unambiguous dark-skinned women who don't look like Megan. You don't get anything out of caping and mammying for brown-skinned and light-skinned women who don't identify with you and who publicly and consistently other themselves from you as a dark-skinned woman. And I just feel like I'm going to have to start being a bitch about it, even more of a bitch than I already am, and really start just bringing this up every time Megan comes up, or every time these women who other themselves from dark-skinned women, but then expect us to jump in and defend them when something goes wrong in their lives. Like, that needs to be talked about. And I don't care what y'all say. That's important. That matters in these conversations. And something else I don't hear black women talking about is the fact that Megan is no different from Ashley Janae and all the swirlers that y'all complain about who flaunt their fairy tale lifestyles and relationships on social media for black women to live vicariously through, when behind the scenes they're dealing with all types of shit. They're dealing with abuse, they're dealing with mistreatment from these men, the same men that they're showing off to other black women. And I just feel like if this were another dark-skinned woman like Ashley Janae who was with a white man, I do feel like black women will be dragging her more than they're doing. Y'all will be calling her a liar, a fraud, accusing her of painting this fairy tale online for black women to get scammed and bamboozled by white men. I mean, the same shit y'all do to the swirlers. And so I'm just trying to figure out why Megan doesn't fall in the category of all the black women who y'all say are selling black women a dream online with these fake lifestyles and fake relationships. Like, why is that not being called out here? So it's also not lost on me that y'all don't give the same grace to swirlers, especially if they're dark skinned, that you do these brown skin and light skinned rappers and these celebrities that are dating black men, or half black men in this case. But y'all want me to have all this grace for Megan. And it's like, I identified more with Ashley Janae than I do Megan. And I saw how y'all didn't give a lot of empathy to Ashley Janae. So it's like, why should I then feel obligated to give that to Megan? And then if I criticize Megan even a little bit, I'm being insensitive. Where was all this sensitivity when y'all were just dragging this dead black woman for showing off her fake relationship with a white man online? Why didn't y'all get mad when I criticized Ashley for not vetting white men enough? What, because she wasn't a celebrity or wasn't dating a black man or a half black man? No, don't expect me to handle a woman with kid gloves just because she's not dating a white man, or because she happens to be a celebrity that you like or you feel sorry for or identify with. No, I'm going to always give my honest opinions and criticism regardless of who it is. I'm not walking on eggshells for anybody on this channel. So if you want me to coddle non-dark skinned women like Megan who other themselves from us, from women like me, just because you feel sorry for them, that's never going to happen. Not on this channel. I don't coddle anybody over here, and I'm going to keep saying what I want to say. So feel free to unsubscribe if you don't like that. I promise you there's no hard feelings. This channel is primarily for a certain kind of woman, and if you're not that woman, I don't want you here. I know I'm a hard pill to swallow. I know I'm not everybody's cup of tea, and I'm perfectly fine with that. I have been for years. But if you expect me to walk on eggshells for colorists, you in the wrong place. You're on the wrong channel for that. But yeah, this video is getting way too long, so that is all I have on this for now. If I have something else to say, I'm sure I'll make another video. But let me know what you think about this in the comments. Also, thank you for listening, and I'll catch up with you in the next video.